Thank you, Nassim. So I will present Eulerian state estimation, and it's a common work with Thomas Lemaiseau, who is doing a PhD in Brest, and Benoît Zed. So first, I will have to explain what we mean by Eulerian. So it's a classification that has been proposed by Mitchell to represent two types of method. So one which is Lagrangian, and the other one which is Eulerian, and it comes from fluid mechanics. So when you see the flags represent the vector field, which is represented here, correspond to the wind. And if we want to understand the behavior of the wind, we have two types of approach. The flag approach, so the Eulerian approach, where just if you look at the flag, you are able to understand how the wind behaves. And also you have the leaves. If you follow the leaves, then you will move with the leaves, and it corresponds to the Lagrangian approach. Okay, so one moving, so the one you move with the fluid. And classically, when we deal with interval analysis method, we have a Lagrangian approach. It means that you integrate differential equations. And time is an important component of this. So here we will take a Eulerian approach, and I will consider the following problem. I have a state equation here, presented the evolution of a trajectory, and I have to visit some sets. So the xi here correspond to some set that has to be visited. And there is some kind of order. It means that, for instance, if some set have to be xi has to be visited before xj, in this case, you have this contract. So there is some kind of order between the sets that are visited. From this relation, I am able to find an approximation of the trajectory. So it is what we call a Lagrange Eulerian approach, because I don't know, I don't care about exact time. Everything is related to the basic tool for this is the invariant sets, so which is important in control theory. So what is an invariant set? First, I introduce the flow map, which corresponds to a solution of the differential equation. So it means that if I start at x0, if I take time t, then phi will give me the state where I am at time t. Okay. So what is an invariant set? So it's not so difficult to understand. If I have a set A, like this, I will say that it is invariant if for all initial conditions inside this set, I will stay here forever. Okay. It means that this situation never happens. Otherwise, it is not an invariant set. So it means, if you want, geometrically, that the vector field corresponding to the state equation always enter in this. Okay, I have never this, never. So if A is an invariant set and if B is an invariant set, the intersection A and B is also an invariant set. A in B will also be an invariant set, positive invariant, if A and B are positive invariant. So it means that there is some kind of lattice structure. So if I have a set, any kind of set like this, the notion of largest invariant set included in the red set exists, and the smallest invariant set containing the red set also exists. These notions exist. And what the basic tool is from a set, let's say X, there is some interval tools to compute an inner and an outer approximation of this set, which is called invariant plus of A, the largest invariant set included in X. Okay, so I will come back here. So I define this set as the largest positive invariant set which is included in X. And I will not explain it here too much, but we are able to compute an inner and an outer approximation of this set using a tool which is called mazes. So maybe I will have some time to discuss about this. What about, I will take an example, the Van der Pol system, which is a two-dimensional problem. And you can see here a geometrical representation of a vector field of this system. So we can see that if you are on the, just above the figure, then you will go out of the box. So if I take this box as a set X, then here I have an approximation of the largest positive invariant set of this box X. So X is a box. Here, in gray, you have some approximation of the cone representing the uncertainty of the vector field. So I will try to zoom. So Control plus. Okay. Plus. So you can understand, if I zoom here, on the blue area, when I am on the blue area, if I follow the vector field, I will go out of the initial vector. If I am in the magenta, I will stay in the magenta forever, and the yellow corresponds to the uncertainty layer. Okay. So this can be computed quite easily, quite fast in, let's say, 1 second. Okay. So now I can define the largest negative invariant set. And for this, I from the positive invariant, just by replacing f by minus f. So it means that I consider the trajectory on the backward order. This corresponds to the largest negative invariant set related to the Van der Pol system. It means that if I am in the magenta zone, I will stay. So the magenta plus zone, I will stay, I will never go to the blue area. If I am in the blue area, I will one day leave the box X if I follow the vector field backward. Okay, so I have an outer approximation of this one. Okay. So now I can define also the intersection of the positive invariant and the negative invariant, and it corresponds to all invariant sets. It is limit cycles and equilibrium point and so on. Okay. What I want to say here is, as we saw some talk about the forward rich set, and it corresponds to the future, all the future of a set X. To compute the forward rich set can be also be written in terms of positive invariant set. So what I want to express here is that many problems in control theory can be expressed in terms of positive invariant set. So that's why we use it as a basic story. So I have an illustration of the forward rich set. If I take as X the box which is contained here red, okay, this box, then all trajectory starting in X will stay inside this set. So you can see here the limit cycle of the Van der Pol system, but also you have an inner and also an outer approximation. So if I start here, I will never go to the blue zone. Never. Okay. If I take a point here in the magenta area, there exists at least an initial condition that will go to this point. Okay? So I can also consider the backward rich set and so on. Okay, so it means in this representation of the Van der Pol system that if I start in the magenta area, one day I will reach the set X. Okay. I will not spend too much on how we compute this forward reach set or invariant set, but everything is related to mazes. So we do not integrate differential equation using a Picard fixed point operator. It's more geometrical. So the idea is to represent path, to enclose path in some kind of structure, which is a mixture of graphs and polygons and that we call maze. So a path like this one belongs to a structure that may be represented in the computer with neighbors and so on, which represent a set of paths. So we can see that this path belongs to this structure in the sense that it respects the arrows. Okay. But it is not this one we take. We take something more sophisticated with doors and not graph at all. So doors is represented here. So it is what we represent in the computer. We have polygons, we have doors. It means that a path, which is consistent with the maze, will go from one box to another, respecting the doors. So they open like this. Okay, there is an order. So this path belongs to this maze because it goes from one box to another, following the doors. Okay? If we have this structure, it can be seen as a set. It is a set of paths, but it is our intervals here. It means that if we have this structure, we can intersect, make the union, and so on. We have some kind of order relation, which means that this maze is included in this maze. This maze has more paths than this one. Okay, and from this, we are able to represent some, to have some kind of propagation, and I will explain how we are able to contract doors and polygons in this figure. So a vector field which is uncertain inside the box is represented, as we saw before, by a cone. That's why we saw many cones before on each box. From this cone, I am able to contract the polygon as represented here. And from also this vector field, I am able to contract this door, which is represented here, as follows. Okay, so I contract everything I can up to the fixed point. And if I propagate this one, I am able to compute points that will have an evolution that will reach a given box or a given set as follows. So at each step, I am able to prove by propagation basis that for each point here, I will reach the initial red box. Okay, so it is the inner approximation represented in this figure, but also I may have another approximation, an outer approximation, using the same type of technique, but I will have to reach the fixed point in order to conclude that every point in the yellow area will never go to the red box. So this is more related to technique coming from abstract interpretation, where they go up to the fixed point before concluding. Okay, so let me come back to the Eulerian filter. I have sets in x0, x1, and so on, and I have to visit all these sets. So I will define some kind of filter without taking directly time into account, only the order, and I propose the following formula, which tells me that if I define as Z forward the set of all states that are inside the visit set K, and that have visited before all previous sets, then I can compute the following one, saying that it belongs to the forward of the previous set, but also the intersection is xk plus 1. It is a recursive formula which will make me possible to compute what I call an Eulerian filter. So I have a representation here. First I have some evolution, some trajectory. So this trajectory visit xk minus 1, xk plus 1, but not xk or maybe later. So I do not respect the order, so this trajectory is not good. Okay. The trajectory B is good. The trajectory F is not good because it is on the wrong sense. The trajectory C is also good, and so on. Okay, so you understand which one is a good one. So the idea is assume that I know that all points here that are inside xk, the visit set xk, I visited before, xk minus 1, xk minus 2, and so on. I assume that I am here. So what about here? I have to find a recursive formula, and now I try to think what could happen here. First, I will compute the forward of this set. If I compute the forward, it corresponds to the forward. I will intersect with xk plus 1, and now I have all states that are visited, x0, x1, up to xk. Okay, and this is exactly the formula that is written here. So it corresponds to a filter, to the Eulerian filter, and I can do the same in a backward direction, and it will correspond to the Eulerian smoother. So in control theory, we have the filter, which is causal, respective time, and the smoother, we take which is non-causal. Okay. So the non-causal, I will explain, but I give you first the formula. In the backward direction, I have the smoother that gives me at time k, the backward of what I have obtained at k plus 1, and I intersect with the forward. So I explain you now directly on the figure. So I remember I was here at time k plus 1. But because of the future, it's not represented here, I assume that I know that I cannot be here. I am on the blue. So how can I propagate this information backward? So first, I have to compute the backward ridge set corresponding to the blue and to intersect with this one. And I will obtain the blue here, and it is exactly what corresponding to the formula I have explained before. Okay, now what I want is not that I have time k plus 1, but I want the whole trajectory. So the trajectory, I take only the forward of Z0 and the backward of ZL, taking backward because I take all information into account. And then, doing this, I will obtain the tube represented here. But, so it corresponds to the formula. But you can see here that the time is not taken into account. I have an inner and an approximation in the state space, but I don't see, because I am in an Eulerian approach, I don't see, I have no information about time, but it is not what I want in this kind of approach. So I will illustrate here on a simple example which corresponds to the Van der Waals system, represented here. So I take 3 sets, x0, x1, x2, corresponding to 3 boxes, A, B, and C. So A, B, and C are correspond to the red boxes. So I try to find all trajectories that start in A, that finish in C, finish in C, and they will visit B. So you can see that it, even by hand it's not so easy because you have some trajectory that starts here, that go to B, that will avoid C at the first round, but later they will come back to C. Okay. For all points that are in the magenta area, there is some trajectory that are feasible, starting from A and going to C. So I have an inner and an outer approximation. I know that no trajectory, feasible trajectory, will be on the blue area. This is guaranteed with respect to all uncertainty, and inside I don't use anything related to Picard operator. So it's not can be considered as nothing to do with different than the Lagrangian approach. It's more geometrical. Okay. The computing time is fast, something like 1 second, and we are trying to generalize to more dimensions. And our motivation is, like the last slide, so our idea is to make underwater robots, what we do in Brest. And it's more a buoy, what we call buoy is not necessarily at the top of the surface of the water, but it can move at different depth, but the propellers are very poor, so it can move only slowly. And we have to do some kind of mission during this summer to go around Wessant, an island near Brest. So we have to visit different zones, and we have to find a trajectory where we have to put the robot so that he will visit one region and then the region and so on. So that's our motivation, is to move with currents and only to use the propellers of the robot in order to have the regulation around some trajectories, but so it is our motivation. Okay? So thank you for your attention.
We have time for plenty of questions.
Yeah.
You say something about the dimension of the dimension of the spectator. So here, dimension is 2.
Yes.
And you say that you'd like to extend
Yes.
to higher dimension. There are some difficulties, except time computation, or
No.
the concept of doors, base is tricky to extend to something like this.
Okay. So there is no theoretical problems. So everything that has been explained with respect to mazes, doors, and so on can be extended to more dimensions. But now we have to prove it. We have to prove with some softwares and dealing with some examples to show that it is also possible to have this kind of picture in 3 dimensions.
Great to say, but all your approach is based on precision. So of course, that's
Exactly. I think so theoretically we can go to more dimensions, but as all branch and bound algorithm, as soon as you bisect, you will generate many boxes. So the algorithm is clearly exponential with a number, with a dimension of the state space. But when even if the domain of viability theory, I think if we can reach 3 or 4, it's already a very good result. So we work with currents. The robots move in a 3-dimensional space. So even dimension 3 could.
Yeah, because it corresponds to true applications.
Yes.
Actual situation. So be able to.
Yes.
How do you compute where the doors should go?
How the doors?
Yeah, how do you compute where the doors are?
At the beginning, I don't know. All doors are, when I start with box. Okay, well, we may be right there. Excuse me. Okay. At the beginning, I have a big box, and all doors are open. But after bisection, I will have a box which is like this, and the vector field is something like this inside. So I represented by a cone. due to the cone, if I have a door which was open like this here, I can contract to empty because the no trajectory will be able to go from the right to the left. So first I have a first contraction. And then I will close or open the doors with respect to the neighbors. But at the beginning, everything is totally open. Yes?
Your system is an autonomous system.
Yes.
So it's possible to have some controls input.
Yes. Yes.
To
Yes.
let the change this evolution.
Yes. 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 So if we compare to the previous talk, in the previous talk, the problem was something like this. So control system. And here, what I presented is the system without control. So invariancy, which are represented, which I did in this speech, becomes in this situation viability sets. So of course, what we are doing at the moment is to use this kind of algorithm to compute viability kernel, and we have done this. We have done it. Not published yet, but soon.
Yes. By viability kernel, do you need class of control input that could guarantee the remaining
As explained, what I mean first, I start with a set X, like this, and I have a control system, and I try to find all points. So the viability kernel was noted as previously as gather of X. It's a set of all points, such that if I do the right control, I can stay inside forever. Here, I can do what I want. I will one day, I will leave the place. So this can be computed. I can have and an outer approximation of the viability kernel. Yes. But it was not this talk. More related to the previous one. But can use the same kind of tools.
It's a kind of control over environment set.
Yes, exactly.
So, comments, questions? In the Bayes algorithm, in fact, you talked about the doors and so on.
Yes.
It is clear on the concept that you do not compute the trajectories.
Yes.
But I was wondering the fact that you consider cones, in a way, it's kind of pick up of iteration or implicitly you're doing kind of integration, aren't you? No?
There is some relations.
I mean, it's a kind of worst case. It's a worst case over approximation of the flow. Okay, so
I think that
hidden in the
using guaranteed combining basis with guaranteed infinite equation, you could go much faster.
Yeah, because you would have a more efficient control.
And for academical reasons, we decided to stay to separate purely and not to combine all of them because it's less clear in the academic point of view. But I think to be efficient, we should combine both. It's clear for us. For the boys. So the boys, we have two propellers. So the boys are like this. It's like tubes. Yes. And we have one propeller here, and also on the other side another propeller, so they can move. They can move in all directions, and then we have two ballasts. One ballast system when you are deep, so it's a small one, just to change the buoyancy, and another one just because when we are at the surface, we need to go out of the water, to have the water here, in order to be able to communicate. So we can say that we have four actuators, two propellers, and two ballasts. But one is only for communication. So 3 actuators.
Okay. let's thank again.
Okay.